The number one reason why golfers are not getting better, but they're practicing plenty, is multi-swing thought syndrome. Have you ever suffered from too many swing thoughts in your practice session? You show up to the range, you're willing to put in an hour's worth of work or hit a large bucket of balls, and you do that routinely, but you don't really have a game plan when you step onto the range to go practice. And so early on in the practice session, it's not going very well, you're frustrated, lost, confused, you're catching some fat, you're catching some thin. And so all of a sudden, you start going into your Rolodex of swing tips and ideas that you watched online. Sound familiar? Well, this is exactly the problem and reason why you will never become a golfer that can break 90. It's just the facts. We know anything that we're successful at in life, if you want to get there faster, have a game plan and have a mentor or coach that's going to help you step by step along the way. If you do this and you have constant interaction with that mentor or coach, they're not only there for accountability purposes, but they're also there to make sure that your form and technique is executed correctly and help keep you focused on the right things in your journey to better golf. Now, vice versa, if you're practicing the way you currently are, you're showing up to the range, you're willing to put in the effort and time, but you don't have any clear roadmap of how to get to where you want to be, you're just wasting your time and you're just creating issues that you're going to have to undo down the road. Now, you might be thinking, well, Andrew, I want to go take golf lessons. Golf lessons can be a good thing, but there is a old and outdated golf lesson model that you want to steer clear of. And I want to be very clear on what that looks like. If you're signing up for a 60-minute lesson and there is zero communication after that lesson ends until the next time that you sign up for a golf lesson, which might be 2, 3, 4 weeks later, the time in between those two lessons is called the gap. And if you're experiencing struggles in the gap and you can't communicate with your instructor, this is a big problem. Why? Because if you have the greatest golf lesson of your life with the best golf instructor on the planet, things are going to go pretty well most likely at the end of that session. But then you leave the lesson and 2, 3, 4 days later you go to the range. You're trying to execute what you learned in that lesson, remembering the feels, the things, and it's not quite going as planned. Man, it doesn't feel the same today. I think I'm doing it right. I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. All these thoughts start jumping into your head, especially when you don't start hitting it solid in the practice session. So naturally, you start asking questions to yourself like, why am I struggling with this? I'm trying to remember. You care so much, you're putting in the effort to extract what you did from that lesson, but you can't quite get it to click. Look, if that's you, you're suffering in the gap, the time in between the lessons. And I would argue that the gap is where you're supposed to be getting better. You're supposed to be going to the practice tee, knowing exactly what to work on, why it's important to you, and how to self-assess on video. When you have your own self-assessment teaching formula, it makes it a lot easier for you to have successful practice sessions so you can chisel away at getting better at your golf swing step by step, brick by brick. But vice versa, if you're experiencing the outdated golf lesson model where there's zero communication in between golf lessons, it's going to lead to frustration, multi-swing thought syndrome, and no clarity and conviction in what you're doing. So what's the better pathway to improving your golf swing step by step? I would argue it's a coaching model where you have a game plan, structure, plus fast feedback, ongoing communication, so there is never a practice session back to back where you didn't get information from your coach so you can make those tweaks and adjustments to get better a little bit each and every time. Because no matter what I tell you, that next practice session most likely will not go perfectly. We are human, there's a lot of moving parts in the golf swing. But what needs to happen is communication. You need voiceover, you need lines, you need fast feedback to be able to start to learn to identify in your own swing on film, are you doing what the coach is asking you to do? Because when you have confidence and conviction to confirm on video that you're doing everything correctly and or you're not doing it correctly, but you now know what adjustments need to be made, that is a very different practice session. And that's how you start developing a pathway to better golf faster. You get accelerated results when you know what to do, why to do it, and how to self-assess. That's why I've created my teaching formula. It's not only my framework as a coach, but I transfer that knowledge to you so you can have that confidence and conviction in your practice session to start to improve things like contact, distance, curve control. Because I know if you can become a consistent ball striker, you can break 90 consistently. And most golfers can't even break 90 consistently. So if you're trying to improve your golf swing and you're tired of being frustrated, lost, confused, too many swing thoughts going on in your head, and you feel like you've put in the effort, you've taken the traditional golf lessons, and it hasn't worked for you, that's okay. Understand there is a different way to get better, and I would argue it's a much better coaching model because there is a specific game plan for you to go from where you're at now to where you want to be. There's structure in that pathway, and there's fast feedback every step of the way in the developmental process so you can start breaking through that awkward phase when you first get introduced to drill. It's gonna be awkward, but when your coach is there to give you fast feedback, you can start to chisel away and earn your way into the mechanical phase where now you're doing the move correctly, but it doesn't feel natural yet. It still feels mechanical. And then eventually with reps, confirmed on video that you're doing it correctly, you start making solid contact, your confidence starts increasing, and now you're starting to get into mastery where the move becomes natural, easy, fun. This is how you get better and you keep your results for a lifetime of great golf. I'm Coach Andrew Banner with Golf Solved, and if you truly want to upgrade your golf swing step by step, you're going to want to visit golfsolved.com, get in contact with me, and let's see if I can help you play better golf sooner rather than later.